Croeso pawb to the Remasters and Retro PSN sale. This sale ends on the 10th of February, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Okay, let's look at the game. Up first is the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, but they're much older games than that really. It's on a 75% discount for a price of £3.99, which is pretty decent, especially considering it includes 9 full games, and they may be old ones, but they're definitely classics. And you can see why these games are amazing. And this collection includes all of the best ones, the Nintendo ones, the Super Nintendo ones, and even the Game Boy ones with a couple of others. Basically, if you're a Castlevania fan, you should be interested in this pack, especially if you don't own it on anything else. And if you've never played these legendary games, then this is literally the perfect way to play them, because you get all of them, so why not give them a try for such a cheap price? Up next is another old school bundle, Contra the Anniversary Collection. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, but again, these games are much older than that. It's on a 75% discount for a price of $3.99 also, which again is really good. And this bundle includes 10 full games, which is really good value. This game series is another legendary series, well known for basically being a defining game in the run and gun genre of games. This pack of 10 games includes the Nintendo games, the Super Nintendo games, the arcade games, and also versions that were never released in the West before. So if you're a fan of Contra games, you'll definitely want to pick this up. And again, like Castlevania, if you've never played these games, but you're interested, this is a great bundle for you because it's literally got everything. You can really go back and see what these games were all about back in the day. And they're still great to play now. They're not legendary for no reason. Take a look at it if you feel a bit old school this month. We're still going old school next with Day of the Tentacle Remastered. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, but it's a remaster of a much older game, so keep that in mind. It's on an 80% discount for a price of £2.39, which is dirt cheap. This game is a point-and-click adventure, and one of the originals at that. It contains the original and remastered versions of the game, which you can switch back and forth at any point. So if you really have fond memories of the original, you can relive it exactly as it was, but then have the option of replaying it remastered as well, which is really cool. The story of this game revolves around time traveling, and about you having to stop a tentacle from taking over the world. And like most point-and-click adventures, it's got really quirky comedy. Basically, if you're a fan of point-and-click adventures, you know what you're getting yourself in for, and this is one of the classics that's still remembered today. So it might just be worth looking at if you like point-and-click adventures, or if you've never played one before, especially at this price. Next we have another point-and-click adventure, Edna and Harvey, Harvey's New Eyes. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and is on a 90% discount for a price of £1.59, which is dirt cheap. In this point-and-click adventure you play as Lily, who's a very well-behaved girl living in a convent, but when her best friend mysteriously vanishes, she must find the courage to overcome her fears and look for them. And again, it's a bizarre adventure with bizarre characters and wacky humour, which is pretty par for the course for point-and-click adventures. This game isn't a classic like the last one, but it's got good reviews and it looks pretty decent. So if you're a fan of point-and-click adventures and you're looking for a new one, or you've never played one and you want to buy a really cheap one just to give it a try, then you may just want to look at this. We're going back to the future with the next game, Metro Redo. It was released in 2014, so it's 7 years old, but they're a remaster of older games from the 360 era. They're on an 80% discount for a price of £4.99, which is stupidly cheap. This bundle includes the first 2 Metro games, Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light. They're based on a book series about Russian survivors in an apocalypse, surviving in the underground metro system, and having to rely on gas masks in order to help them survive above ground. These are a really good first-person shooter series, and considering you get both of them remastered with all DLC for £4.99, that's a ridiculously good deal. They do come up semi-regular for this price, but if you don't have them, or you're looking for a new first-person shooter to play, these are really good quality games for a really decent price. You should definitely check them out if that sounds good to you. That didn't last long, we're back to the old school now, with the Jak and Daxter collection. They released in 2017, so they're 4 years old, but they're remastered PS2 games, so they're really much older than that. They're on a 63% discount for a price of £12.20, which is insanely good value considering there's 4 full games in this collection. The first 3 are a legendary series of 3D action platformers made by Naughty Dog, Yeah, you heard me. This is one of the series that made them famous in the first place, and they're well worth playing. And the fourth game's a combat racing game, which is not as good as the first three, but, considering it's thrown in, you can't complain. The basic story of these games is that Jack, the main character, gets his best friend transformed into a fictional animal called an Otzel, and you adventure to find a way to reverse that. That's the basic story of the first game, and then they just carry on from there more or less. If you like 3D platformers, like Banjo and Kazooie, or Mario 64, then this should be on your list of games to buy because they're amazing. They're from that era and they were great then and they're still great now. Definitely a legendary series worth looking at this price. Up next is my star buy, Tomb Raider the Definitive Edition. It was released in 2014, so it's 7 years old, and is on an 85% discount for a price of £2.39, which is so good a deal you can tell why it's my star buy. This game, for anyone that doesn't know, is a third-person action-adventure game that involves a lot of climbing, puzzling and combat. It's a legendary series from the PS1 days, and now it's come back in a reboot, and it's basically ripped off the Uncharted games, which is not a bad thing because the Uncharted games are amazing. And this does a really good job of combining the legendary Tomb Raider series with the improvements that Uncharted brought to the genre. This reboot of the series starts with a new story, and it shows how Lara Croft became the Tomb Raider. In this game, she's on a ship that crashes on some rocks, and she washes up on an island full of bad guys, and it's up to her to survive, find out a way off the island, and also investigate some tombs while she's there. I've completed this game and I really love it. It's such a good game, it really is. And at this price, it's essential more or less. It's my star buy and it's my star buy for a reason. It's an awesome game. It's a great price. If you like the Uncharted games, if you like third-person action games, you should definitely take a look at this. It's really good and you'll have a good time playing it. And our final game is Zone of the Ender's second run on Mars. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old. But again, it's a remaster of a PS2 game, so it's much older than that really. It's on a 75% discount for a price of £6.24, which is really good. This game is a third-person action mech game where you pilot a mech and fight in third person. It's unbelievable, trust me. I completed this back in the PS2 days and I loved it. It was one of my favourite game series back then. This game series was also produced by Hideo Kojima, the legendary creator of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, so that might pique your interest. This game is set in 2174, where the Bahram military organization is using new mech technology in order to control the planets in the galaxy. You take control of Jehuti, which is a mech, also known as orbital frames in this game, so it's up to you to fight the Bahram organization and save the planets. This game is remastered in 4K and is fully playable in VR, which is just unbelievable value. I mean, imagine playing a mech game in VR for the entire story. Sitting in the pilot seat as if you're really in the mech. I mean, come on, it's just a dream come true for anime fans. This alone sold it to me and I was already a fan. Anyone with a PSVR should consider this, especially if you like anime or Power Rangers or any mech-based combat series ever, really. Gundam fans probably creamed their pants worldwide when this got released. But even if you don't have a PSVR unit, you should definitely consider this, because there's not a lot of mech games around, and this is definitely one of the best ones in the last 2 decades. It's awesome. It's unbelievably good, it really is. Definitely take a look at it if you're in any way interested at all. And that's all the games I have for you for the Remasters and Retro PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones? Did I pick bad ones? Did I miss games that should have been included? What do you think of my star buy? Should I have picked something else as my star buy? Overall, the games I picked rubbish. Throw all your complaints in the comments below and we'll argue about it later. I hope you guys found some games you're interested in, but more importantly I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.